results as they come in right now. And what you have to understand, what we are looking at in these first half hour of results coming in, these are the early votes, the absentees that were cast early in person at the Board of Elections, and those who voted by mail. They are all tabulated leading up to Election Day, and they're able to put them out pretty much right away. So within the next 10, 15 minutes, we will probably see a third of all the votes that are cast in this election released here this evening. And then we're going to get dribs and drabs 8:30 pretty much on until 10 o'clock. But AP's needing nothing further than to see what they are seeing in these early vote numbers to declare that Mike DeWine would be the winner over Nan Whaley, the former Dayton mayor, in that race for Ohio governor. Now, another close race that we are keeping a close eye on is, of course, one that the nation is keeping an eye on, and that is a race for U.S. Senate. Tim Ryan off to an early lead, 60 to 40%. And what you have to understand about these early vote numbers is they tend to lean Democratic. So in a race like this, Tim Ryan would expect to come out with those early vote numbers with a sizable lead in this race, and then he will likely see that whittle down to a closer election as we see the day of election votes come in throughout the evening. But at this point, it's a 60 to 40 lead, about a little, just under 100,000 votes separating the two. And what we're going to be looking at in this particular race especially is in 2018, Democrat Sherrod Brown won the U.S. Senate race while Democrat Richard Cordray lost the governor's race. And what we saw in that race was Brown won 7 more counties than Cordray did. And 4 of those counties were in our area, Ashtabula, Lake, Portage, and Erie County. And we'll be looking closer as these numbers come in, how Tim Ryan is doing against J.D. Vance in these particular areas. Again, early voting was up across the state this year by about 4%, but it was down in counties like Cuyahoga and Franklin counties where you would expect to see the majority of Democratic votes coming for. In 2018, Sherrod Brown came out of Cuyahoga County with 218,000 votes. It was basically two-thirds of what he won the state by. So we're going to be watching all these numbers are coming in. But again, not a surprise that Tim Ryan jumps out to an early 60-40 lead in the early vote against J.D. Vance. We were watching that race very closely. When it comes to Congress, we have an entirely different congressional setup here in Ohio this year with the redistricting. And as a result, we're going to see plenty of new faces. We have 3 congressmen who decided they were not going to run for re-election. Tim Ryan, who ran for U.S. Senate. Anthony Gonzalez, one of 10 Republicans who voted to impeach Donald Trump, decided not to seek re-election. And Bob Gibbs, who was put into a district where he would have had to challenge a Trump former aide, decided to also retire. And as a result, we have in particular 2 districts where we will definitely see a new member of Congress. And this one right here is one of them, the 13th Congressional District. This is made up of Summit and Stark counties. We have Madison Jesse Otto Gilbert, the Trump-endorsed candidate, Republican, trailing Amelia Sykes by 58 to 42%. In the breakdown of this is one of the closest elections that we will be looking at so far as Republican and Democrat in the state. Another one we're keeping an eye on is that District 7, where Max Miller is leading. We don't have any results in at this point right now, but we will be watching that one closely against Matthew Deemer. And of course, another race that people are looking about across the country, and that is a race for Congress with Marcy Kaptur taking on J.R. Majewski. Kaptur, of course, the longest serving woman in the U.S. Congress. This is a tough challenge for her. This is another literally toss-up race in this state. And right now, with the early vote coming in, she leads him by about a 2-to-1 majority. But again, this is very early in the night. We expect to see more of these early votes released in the next couple of minutes. And then we're going to have that gap until the day of election votes come in. Stay with News 5 throughout the night. As soon as they come in, you will see them on our News 5 app, and we'll check in with you later.